Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Okay, let me know if the sound is good because the mic is green. I don't know if it got wrecked or not, but good now. Okay, I don't know. I think the mic got wrecked again for some reason, and that's the same mic. Okay, I used yesterday. Now it is working perfectly. Ah. Okay, so now it is good. Alright guys, alright. Sorry for the delay and all that good stuff, man. Alright. So I know most of these moon boys are you know, they're very impatient, right? So now, thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. Thanks a lot for the mic check 1 2 1 2. Let's get this crypto now. So now let's go ahead and start off with BTC. By the way, it is March 26, 2022, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so let's get this crypto, and we're going to start up with BTC. Right, so BTC, nothing going on over the last 48 hours. Very slow volatility, but the main thing to remember in this range is, like, you know, bulls, they still in control, right? On you know, 3D weekly, they're regaining control. We will take a look at the weekly, but if we take a look at it on the daily, right, starting off the daily, I don't see any sign of bearishness as of now, right? Once again, it doesn't mean like, well, they're going to shake out the market, right? And all the weak hands going to be shaken out, and you know, they could create like some downside volatility. But as of now, we at resistance. We talked about the 45 to 46 resistance, right? If you guys recall, back in December when BTC was at 46, what I said, I said clearly 45 46 is going to be a strong support, and even down the road, okay, if we pull back up, it is going to give us a strong resistance right here. So we're facing a strong resistance at 45 46. Are we going to break it? I guess we will find out very soon over the next like a couple of days. If we break out above it, we know the next resistance, you know, price resistance, and at the same time Fibonacci resistance going to be at 52. We talked about it like the first week of March, right? We said you know, March, the resistance is for March going to be, you know, the upper level resistance going to be up to a 46, and the secondary resistance going to be up to a 52 at 0.618. Okay, so that's, let's see if I still got the so that's exactly what I said regarding the BTC support and resistance for March, right? If you take a look at the quarterly resistance right there, right, the quarterly resistance at right here 45 46, and we're about to close the quarterly resistance. Okay, the secondary resistance going to be 52, but we will be starting a new quarterly time frame, so we will see if we will get there. Okay, the monthly resistance, it is still in range 43 46. We're about to close the monthly and the quarterly. Weekly resistance at the same price. So what we said was like, okay, on average 44k, right? If you basically looking for the first resistance, the secondary resistance going to be at, you know, all the way up to 52 at 0.618. Okay, and we will take a look at the supports and all that good stuff, right? So now if we go back to BTC and take a look at it on a 3D basis, the 3D time frame, what we said yesterday was like, okay, this guy is looking good. Okay, it is looking very good. And I told you guys, I told you since like when November, I was like, okay, no need to be in rush. We're still going to be you know, in a downtrend until we get control of the 3D21. Now we're getting control of the 3D21 right here, so above it. So let's see if the 3D MACD going to stay bullish. RSI doesn't have any problem right now. It is still following the trend. Price action, it is making price action is making high lows. RSI, it is making high lows, so nothing crazy regarding the RSI. So let's see over the next like couple of days if we're going to get a high volatility to the upside. I like the fact BTC is above 40, 42, 44, or even 45k, right? Because alt going to enjoy the short-term rallies. Okay, some of these alt, I said it in my premium, in my premium group, I said after BTC broke out above like 41, 42, I was like, okay, it's not even time to be focusing on BTC. It is time to be focusing on alt, because alt will be breaking out massively. Okay, and most of you guys just see like what happened to Zilliqa. We just talked about Zilliqa this week, and we talked about Zilliqa this week twice. Okay, when it was at the bottom, we said okay, it is still a good hold, because Zilliqa likes to be one of those coins that break out first in any alt season. Okay, over the last few alt season actually, right? And I'll give you guys the example of what happened back in November 2020 when Zilliqa broke out to the upside, right? So it just pumped like 100%, just like QSP. We talked about QSP since like August, guys, when QSP was under, just about like a 90 to 80 sats. We said accumulate QSP because we could be pumping all the way up to some crazy prices, right? But going back to BTC on a 3-day basis, I don't see nothing crazy. It doesn't mean I'm a moon boy or I'm extremely bullish, but I'm just following the same pattern we followed back in May, June, July, September, right here, a zigzag formation. What we said, if we break out above the 21 EMA, most of you guys remember, because these are macro target. I mean, they're not like macro targets, but short to medium term targets, like 30 to 50% moves, right? You guys cannot forget that quickly. All right, so and when BTC was right here, what we said, breakout below the 21 EMA, let's just circle it up all the way down to the monthly. Okay, so now it looks good. Can we break out above 46? That's a big problem. Okay, but as I just said, right, we're going to find out very, very, very soon. Okay, so if we break out above 46, the next few days, I'm not talking about like 46, 45, 50, 47 pullback and all that good stuff. I'm talking about the directional move, because if it pumps like 47, right, dump back down to like a 44, 45 to retest the support, some people are going to be like, okay, we got rejection and all that good stuff. It is not how we going to define rejection. Every time we dump like 3-5%, we can't just say it is time to reverse. All right, all the indicators on the lower degree, we will take a look at BTC on the 12-hour down to 6-hour. They got to flip negative. Okay, they got to flip negative, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at BTC on a monthly basis. So the monthly, it is looking good. Once again, guys, I did not expect BTC, right, to close to close, I'm not expecting it, because monthly is not still closing bullish, but my expectation was like bear is not going to be at least dumb enough, right, to let this candle close bullish. Okay, because that could trigger some bullish momentum starting at 46 and higher, right? So if bears want to take a cheap shot, they could basically do something crazy the last day of the month and dump the price below the candle open, meaning like dump the price below the the candle open right around 43.2, right? So closing below 43.2 going to give bears more confidence, because once again they got the negative crossover on the MACD, right? And price action, bulls got the price action above the 21. Okay, that's what bulls creating right now. All right, so keep that in mind. Okay, so if the candle closes bullish, right, bang, okay, bulls most likely going to be very confident, and we could try to challenge the 52. So closing above 44, that's going to be crucial. Okay, 44, I know candle open at 43.2, right? But you want to get a nice body candle. You don't want to get like a small body candle, and bears they're still going to be like, okay, that's not even convincing enough, so we're going to wreck all the moon boys and dump the price, right? So but closing above 44, 44 and a half, that's going to be nice. Okay, that's going to be nice for the bullish momentum, and we could over the next like a quarter, over the next few quarters, try to close above the 57k, right? 57k, that's going to be a sure bull market pattern, right? If we close on a quarterly basis above 57k right there. Okay, all right. Paul 4007 in the house, thanks a lot for tuning in. We got Clay, Pablo S Crypto, ZX, thanks a lot for tuning in, man. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at BTC on the 12-hour basis. Okay, the 12-hour basis, nothing crazy. Volume is kind of low right there on Bitstamp. Let's take a look at it on Coinbase. Yeah, low volume right here, so that's not very good in a short to medium term time frame. Okay, we want to get a big volume, so it could be a small volume before the next spike, but let's just wait and see if bear is going to show up in this range and try to give bulls some tough time to break out above the 46, right? So but nothing really crazy beside the low volume on on a 12-hour basis. We got to get the MACD to completely turn negative, and at the same time RSI, it is still looking good, just like the 3D time frame, right? We got to break the trend. Okay, so and at the same time we got to break out below our 21, right? So we could get it first on a 6-hour basis if we're going to be reversing. No sign of bearishness really in terms of divergences, right? No sign of divergence in this range. Okay, no sign of divergence at all. Okay, you could make an argument and say, hey Sen, how about this divergence right there? How about this? Okay, I mean, that's possible. You could draw it like that, right? But at the same time, another moon boy could say, hey, we're still making high right there. Okay, but let's see, until we cross negative, we could start to make some argument on on the 6-hour up to the 12-hour, right? So but if the 12 hours close, if we close the 12-hour time frame, not close, but if we get a negative crossover on our 12-hour, that could come from the 6-hour bearishness. Okay, because the 6-hour could do something like that again. Okay, but if the 12-hour give us a negative crossover, it might not flip bullish again strongly. You see what I'm saying? So let's see over the next couple of days, especially the first week of April, we're definitely going to find out, right? So once again, just to recap it, BTC, next upside resistance, it is at 46. If it breaks 46, 52 going to be the next resistance. Okay, most of you guys know that. Okay, and support to keep an eye on, depending on how you want to draw your trend line. If you're drawing your trend line on a 12-hour or lower, or even on the daily, you can include the 34 support right here, and we could be looking for the support, trend line support right there. Yes, it is not going to be a straight, I don't think it will be, even if we're going to get a rejection, it is not going to be a single candle all the way down to a 36, right? But who knows? I'm just speculating. It could be a slow bleed, right, to get there. But to get to 52, it could be a big move, because we already got the momentum right here. You see what I'm saying? So but it doesn't matter, like if BTC can stay between 42 to 45k area, alt will enjoy the the short-term mini alt season, right? So now let's go ahead and take a look at Filecoin. So Filecoin, it is still looking pretty good, right? We talked about Filecoin early this week, right? When File was right around like 17, I think, like 16.5, 75, I can remember. But we're looking for the 22 and up to 25. If the volatility is high enough, it could even go all the way up to like a 42, right? 42 resistance, which is our previous double top double bottom rejection right here, okay? But we will see. We just want to basically get the first double top double bottom. If the move is strong enough and we break out above 25 27, we know the next resistance is going to be up to like 42, just like what happened to Ether Classic. Okay, Ether Classic broke out above the above the February resistance and pump all the way up to like a 47, 48, $50, right? So but it is still looking good as of now. 12-hour looks pretty good. If we take a look at it on the daily, our main thing we were looking for on a daily basis was like to take out the daily 21 EMA. So it did that exactly. If you guys recall, when it was right here, right, that's when I talk about it, right? I think like 17.6, 17.5 in my premium, right? So it is nearly from 17.5. It is already 10% up, and we're looking for the looking for the 25 or even like a 40%, 50% pump, right? So let's see if we're going to break out above the 22, pump above the daily, retesting it. Pretty good trend. Okay, pretty good trend, right? Pretty good trend. You could also look at it differently, right, without all these lines and indicators. Yeah, we got our file moonshot last year, like last year around like what, March, I think March, right? When we pumped like 10x, March, April, right? From 24 to 20, right? So the sound is good now, buddy. All right, so you could look at it in terms of resistance, right? We got our February resistance right here, late February resistance, and we just broke out above the trend line. So and it could take a nice ride all the way up, okay, consolidate right here and even push higher, right? Nothing crazy right here in our RSI, looking pretty good, right? Volume, it is slightly decreasing since we started the breakout just below the daily 21, but that was our initial breakout from the bottom. So the volume profile could change very, very quickly if we get a big volume right here to take us above 22. All right, so we just don't want to take out a 1628, 1618, okay? That could invalidate the pump to the upside, right? It is moving slow, but sometimes like you don't know which one of these will basically break out, even though they get, they do have the same pattern, right? But you don't know which one will break out first, okay? So for instance, if you take a look at TRB USDT, it is in the same situation as Filecoin. As you can see, similar pattern, and it is moving nicely, okay, with no problem, okay, with no problem, and it can pump all the way up to 25, 26 range. But we will see which one will get to the mid 20s, 25, 26, right? So now let's go ahead and move on to IOTA. So IOTA USDT, I talked about IOTA USDT in our public and premium group, right? And we talked about IOTA, I think like last week during this week, okay, I think this week during the live update, right? So it is still breaking out, right? It broke out above the resistance right here, 80 cents. That's nice. We could be looking for the $1 or even 115, depending on how volatility going to be over the next like couple of days. If BTC remains calm and doesn't do anything crazy, I think we can get the 150. But if you got in when we talk about IOTA around like 72, 73, or even up to 78, right, 78 cents, you're still good, okay? You're still good. Just sit tight. It is the same pattern as Filecoin, okay? Similar wedge, not a wedge, but descending bottom formation. Most people are going to be shorting a descending triangle bottom formation, and I've been saying over the last few months or years, don't ever short a descending bottom triangular formation, okay? I learned that from EGLD. I remember when EGLD was at $7, guys. If you guys recall, if you've been long enough in our group, right, or in this channel, I remember we were shorting it around like I think $9, $7, right? And then after I was like, okay, let's get out. Let's not short a bottom, a bottom triangular formation. Okay, and after we went long all the way up to $15 from the $7 to $9 range. Okay, and it pumped $30. You know the rest. Okay, sucker pump all the way up to some crazy prices after that, right? So, but going back to IOTA, beautiful setup right here. Let's see if bulls going to be showing up with some good volume over the next like couple of days. In terms of MACD, looks pretty juicy, man. Looks pretty juicy. Okay, so nothing to say regarding the MACD. We just want to get higher above the histogram right here, right there. Okay, we want to get higher. So the next pullback right there could give us a support from the daily 21. If you take a look at it on the 2D basis, it looks good. Okay, it looks really good. And if you want to take a look at it in terms of RSI, we just broke out above the resistance trend line right here. Yes, it can make some noise and retest it, and that could create like some fear if we retest like the 80 cents, let's say 78, right? But overall, as long as we can stay above the 66, now we're pretty good. Okay, we're pretty good. We just have to stay above 66, and could be taking a nice ride all the way up to potentially 115, 120, depending on how BTC will perform over the next like couple of days, right? So let's take a look at IOTA BTC actually, because if it is not bullish against BTC, whoa, okay, we got a nice 2D candle. So it is a nice candle, but that's the first candle. So let's see if it is going to be a continuation. We will get a continuation to the candle, right? But you could draw it as a wedge pattern. MACD just flipped bullish right here, but it could create some noise. Okay, so I don't think it is a reversal pattern, even though we can still pump, but we could still get some noise, right? And move sideways before the mega pump, right? Just like what happened right here. So don't be too bullish right after we pump, right? If we pump actually, okay, it is pumping right now, 3.6% on the day, right? So if you're a moon boy, you 10x it, you're already 30%, right? But make sure to put a stop loss, right? Because we talked about IOTA early this week, right? So wet, let's take a look at VET. Okay, VET. Okay, so Vechain looking pretty good. We talked about Vechain last week, this week. I keep saying last week, okay, but I think last week, right? Vechain right there. Okay, we said just suck it up. It looks good, right? I don't see anything crazy. MACD on the 2D looks pretty good, right? It is ramping up slowly. Nothing crazy like Zilliqa 100% up, but it could catch up with Zilliqa all the way up to 10 cents. If you recall, you can basically do something sometime if you want to compare these coins, right? You can do like VET BTC, Zil BTC. I like Zil, and I talk about it, guys. I talk about it like in my FIBA live stream, and I said I like Vechain and Zilliqa because they move together, and I'm pretty familiar with their chart. Okay, so you can see like VET just broke out against Zilliqa right there. So that's not a good sign. Okay, that's not a good sign if you're holding Vechain, because it could be losing value, right, against Zilliqa over the next like a few weeks or even like a month. Okay, because it looks like a top formation right there. Okay, it looks like a top formation, but we've seen it right here back in May 2021, right? VET lost some value against Zilliqa right there, but picked back up and push back to retest all-time high. So is it going to be a trend where we're going to be retesting the absolute bottom? That's possible. Okay, that's possible. So don't sleep on Vechain. Okay, so going back to VET BTC. So VET BTC, it is still looking pretty good. As I said, accumulate right here. Okay, if we hit like the low 100 sats, accumulate. Yes, we can still retest the 90 sats, 100 sats range, but this 50% pullback could give us a nice support if we get a strong push and the weekly MACD crosses bullish, right? that could signal the reversal. All right, so we got to get the weekly MACD right to cross bullish, and over the next few weeks after that, it is only going to be what, reaccumulation, even if it dumps, because you know you got your weekly MACD positive. So sometimes you can get your weekly MACD being positive, but you know you're still going to get lower lower prices, meaning like it can still do create another wedge, right? But I don't know if it will do it this time, right? But Vechain, once again, it is still a good hold. Even if we retest like 90 sats, it is still a good hold, because you just don't know when you're gonna get that 100% to 100% move. If you try to catch the bottom, you will never catch it. Okay, we caught the bottom right here back in September 2019. I wouldn't say we were lucky, but we were just following the trend, because after it pumped to like 100 sats, what we said was like, let's wait again, we're going to get in somewhere around like a 40 sats, and we got in at 40 sats again. After it pumped back up to 220, what we said was like, get out, we're going to get back in where, right here, 75 to a 50 sat. That's exactly what happened. We got back in right here. It pumped all the way up to 400 sat from where, 50 60 sats. Okay, so nearly a 10x move, right? And now we're saying, okay, you can still accumulate 130 range, but if we dip down to a 100 sats, 90 sats, suck it up. Okay, and stay with the trend. A nice broadening wedge pattern. So if we retest the 100 sats, most likely bulls going to be reaccumulating right here. The worst case scenario, it is just going to be 50 sats, which is where we got in back in December. Okay, actually November. Okay, November. Let's do this. All right. All right. So now let's go ahead and move on to ICP. So ICP USDT, it is still around like $19, right? Same pattern as Filecoin, but in a more, I think it looks like a ADA, not IOTA, but ADA. Okay, ADA just gave us the same wedge pattern, and we just pumped to like 115, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at ADA, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. You see the ADA pattern, I talked about it in my premium. As soon as we started to get above the daily 21, so we pump all the way up to nearly 120. Okay, so if we go back to ICP USDT, so looking pretty good, so I talked about ICP in my weekly update with Zilliqa, Vechain, Mana, Tether, Matic, Solana, Balancer, Filecoin, and all that good stuff, and NIA. So ICP, it is still looking pretty good. So it is nothing we can do as of now. Just have to wait for the bulls to bulls are starting to go crazy in this range, and we could be pushing all the way up to $24 over the next like a few days or even like a weeks, depending on volatility. I don't see anything crazy once again regarding the RSI. It is not aggressive yet, right? But it could be once we pump a little bit above the 66 range. All right, we just want to stay linear, okay, in this range. We don't want to be doing anything like that. Okay, and ICP, what we said was like 17.5. It is still a good range to reaccumulate for the bearish momentum. Okay, if we break out below the 14.5, the only next the next support, okay, going to be all the way down to like a 7.5 to a 8.5 range. Okay, so something to keep in mind. Even though we got a potential 30% pump, we don't want to break out below the 14.5 over the next like a few days and so on. Okay. because I like to look at these coins like every 50%, 40 to 50% dump, okay, below support. Right here you can see, like I was saying, like a 17.5, right there, 17.5 right there. So that was actually right there, 28, yep, 28, just about 28 on average right there. So we dumped nearly 40%, right? So, and if you take a look at it, it dumped like 50% below the 28 support, right? So something to keep in mind, when they dump below support, they can go crazy. Just like when they pump above resistance, they can go crazy too, right? But a nice bull divergence in a wedge pattern, you know, I think bull's gonna suck it up and they're going to be buying the dips, and we could see high prices over the next like a few days and so on, right? Next resistance right here. All right, 37 to 40. If we break out above the 23 to 25, right? So now let's go ahead and move on to Mana USDT. So Mana on the daily, actually on the 6 hour, it is slightly negative, but we're still above the 21. Immediate resistance going to be 280, and the next resistance going to be just about the low $3. Okay, the low $3. Take a look at it on the daily. Let's just do this. Hey, what's up, USCG? Thanks a lot for tuning in, man. USCG vet. It's been a while, man. Jude Moonboy XRP 589. Jude, Mr. XRP 589. Wanna take a look at XRP on the 1 second chart. Yeah, on the daily, it is still looking good. It is not a divergence, right? But you know, it is a wedge pattern, right? So that's the only thing we can rely on, right? It is not a. It is. You could use your histogram divergence, but I don't like to use them. They can get you easily wrecked. So if you're comfortable with using these histogram bearish and bullish divergences, you can, right, if you're comfortable with it. But I just like to use the regular you know, MACD and signal line, meaning like the blue and orange line, right? That way I'm going to be constant. Okay, if I make a mistake, I will know exactly why. But if I use the histogram right here and I'll get wrecked, it will take me time to figure out why I got wrecked and all that good stuff, right? So, but if you're comfortable, I've seen like some people using it, but I just try not to mess with it, right? For some reason, right? I do use it when I need it, right? And just to get like extra confirmation, but not to get like 100% confirmation, right, from it, right? But it looks good, okay, in terms of wedge pattern, right? It looks good. Ascending triangle on the 12-hour BTC. Hey, what's up, David? The 6-hour MACD can cross negative, but since like the momentum is pretty strong, let's go back to a BTC before we move on to Theta, right? So let's take a look at Theta first. Yeah, so Theta, nothing crazy, right? So similar pattern as Filecoin, right? It just broke out first, that's the only difference. So a slight flat correction right here. So but it looks good. Okay, RSI looks pretty good. I don't see nothing crazy on the RSI once again. So it can definitely take out the 3.5 to a 3.7 resistance, okay, over the next like a few days and so on. The big resistance going to be all the way up to a 4.2 to a 4.5, okay. Right now we don't want to take out like 2.6, okay. If we take out 2.6, that could give us a total reversal, right? And possibly our daily MACD or even the 2D MACD could go negative again, right? But as of now, it looks good on 2D all the way down to even 12 hour. Okay, even 12 hour looks pretty good. So on the 12 hour, just be cautious, just in case we get a shakeout right there with the V shape. Right here we can get this move, okay. So it means like it can definitely retest the range right here before pushing high. So so if we get a shakeout, short-term shakeout to retest the 3.1 3.2, just know exactly what's going on, right? Okay, now let's move on to BTC USDT. So for BTC USDT here, David is talking about the 6 hour 21. The 6 hour 21, it is still price is still above the 6 hour 21. Even if we cross negative right here, since like the momentum is pretty strong, just be patient, okay. Just be patient until we close below the 21 EMA and MACD crosses negative. If you don't want to get in trouble, right, you can wait for your 12 hour later on, okay. Maybe wait like for a couple of days to see if the 12 hour going to cross negative, okay, to get the 100% confirmation that your 6 hour is starting a new trend. Remember, the trend is now strong. BTC is above the weekly 21, above the 3D 21, above the daily 21, above the 12 hour 21, and above the 6 hour 21. So right now the 6 hour 21 might not give you the 6 hour MACD negative crossover might not give you a strong confidence level like we're going to be dropping. You see what I'm saying? So you just have to be very, very patient now, because if the trend is bullish, you don't want to be bearish on every 6 hour negative crossover. Okay, so when the trend is negative, let's say BTC is below the weekly 21, below the 3D 21, below the daily 21, below the 12 hour 21, okay. If we break out below the 6 hour 21 or a breakout of your MACD on the 6 hour, you got a pretty good chance to get lower prices, because everything else, all right, on the upper level is negative. Do you see what I'm saying? So even though we trade the 6 hour, you have to trade it smartly. You just don't see like every 6 hour negative crossover and you go ahead and short it and get wrecked and come back, get wrecked, come back, get wrecked, and all that good stuff, right? So so you got to take it slow, okay, until we get a shift in momentum, right? So that's the idea. That's the idea regarding the bull market, okay. During a bull market, what I like to say is like, okay, if we start a bull market, right, let's say we start a bull market, right, and we know we're good on the weekly, BTC is above the weekly, like what happened right here around like back in September 2020, almost like a year and a half, right? September 2020 right here. What we said was like every pump, right, whenever we dump, buy the dip at the 6 hour 21, okay, buy the dip at the 6 hour 21, at the most, right, 6 hour 100 EMA, okay. So that's what we've been doing all along the way, all the way up to the top, because we know BTC was above the weekly 21, BTC was above the 3D 21, right? So BTC was above the daily 21, right? So whenever we retest these supports, right, even down to the daily 21, you just buy the dip, because sometimes your 6 hour 100 EMA is going to be roughly equal to your daily 21, right? And you're going to be buying the dips, That's why when many bears were calling for lower prices when BTC was at 20K, we said, guys, let's just stay with the trend because we're going all the way up to 40K. Okay, so don't short it too soon. Okay, be patient. Hey Sam, what's your favorite meta coin? I mean, I don't have a favorite coin, man. I just trade the chart, man. If the chart looks good, man, I just trade it. Okay, I just trade the chart. Yes. Do I have a chart for FTM? Max88 is asking, do I have a chart for FTM? We will take a look at FTM. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at Solana next. So Solana, it is still looking pretty good, consolidating between 103.97 range, right? But I was expecting it. Okay, that's why I drew this light orange, whatever chocolate color you want to call it, right? So you know, I was expecting a sideways correction right here, and it could still pump all the way up to 120. So I'm looking for the 120. If the move is exaggerated enough, we could even look for the 160. But we will you know, talk about it if we break out above the 120 area. Okay, because the 160 165 going to be 0.618 pullback. It could be a WXY and ABC correction. I don't know, right? If we got that far, all right. If not, you know, we will, you know, take a look at it in different pattern. But MACD looks pretty good. Okay, RSI looks pretty good. Divergence, lower lows right here. Okay, so we just don't want to take out the support area, just about like a 73, 74 area. Okay, if we take out 74, that could basically give us a continuation. Okay, but even if we get rejected, we test the bottom, it will still look pretty good because it can do something like that. And MACD could retest the RSI could retest the trend line support, bang, right? But we will see over the next like couple of days. Okay, now let's move on to Matic. So Matic is looking to create a macro double top double bottom, just like what happened to FTM. Okay, so if we go back to $2 2.10 range, just be cautious. It might not be a reversal, because it could be a a big flat correction like that. Just like what happened to FTM. Okay, so it looks pretty good as of now, right? A nice bull divergence right here, and I've been saying like a flat correction always going to start with a bull divergence, right? So you just don't want to be too bullish above $2. Yes, it can break out above it, but just be cautious. Okay, and if we ever retest like 75-60 cents area, right, that could be a nice range to accumulate for weeks or even month before the next like a big move to the upside, right? But if we break out above 220 to 30 area, we could start to look for a possibility to push higher, but we will see, right? Okay, so now let's go ahead and take a look at XRP for Jude Moonboy. So XRP, it's not doing anything really. Okay, it's not bearish, all right? It's not extremely bullish, all right? But if we're going to follow the macro, I don't think we will follow this macro wedge pattern, but if we ever do, right, we could be looking for the support right here. And we talk about the 40 cent support in terms of like a Fibonacci, all right? Right here, right there, right? That's going to be the 50% pullback right there. Okay, that could coincide with the trend line support. So if we get XRP to retest 40 cents, 45 cents, right, that could be a good deal. Okay, if we break out to the upside, we know the 130 was our November resistance when BTC got rejected at 69. XRP was at 129, 130. Okay, that could be a good range to look for if you're short-term trading and looking for a potential like a inverse head and shoulder right here, because it moves very slow. So, and these inverse head and shoulders, they meant to be moving very slow. Okay, so possibly it is something like you could look for, but it is not guaranteed you will get it, right? So Jude Moonboy, that's it for XRP. XRP BTC did not break out to 2700 range, right? And if we take out, I would say like 17, okay, 1700. Let's change it to 1700, right? Because it seems like it is printing a potential flat correction, right? Okay, if it prints this pattern right there, yeah, it can break out to a 2500 to a 2700 range. But we got a negative MACD on our daily. Let's take a look at it on 2D, negative MACD, right? So we got to get a strong momentum, okay, to get back above the above the signal line, like that. Okay, so let's see, it could create a lot of noise too. Okay, it can even go below the 1700 and create a longer pattern, something like that, right? But if we break out extensively below the 1700, our chance of going up to a 25 to a 2700 range might be very, very low after that, right? Because we did have a nice wedge pattern, right? Nice wedge pattern plus a divergence. That's what we just talked about regarding these alt USD pairs, right? Right here. Okay, so we just need the continuation. All right, so a breakout from this point, okay, let's say anywhere between 1700, okay, up to 1900 range. If we break out above the 2200 range, that could be a real one. Okay, I don't think it will be a fake out, right? It could be a real one. Okay, let's take a look at RSR. So RSR, yeah, it is still moving towards the 16 to a 17, right, range. Nothing crazy. Already created the flat correction. Looks like it wants to break out. Okay, a nice flat correction right here, on top of the big flat correction. So it looks like the trend wants to continue the upside momentum. All right, so our side looking pretty good. Yeah, we're looking pretty good with the R side, right? So everything looks good. I don't see anything crazy. Yeah, MACD negative, right? But 12 hour it is still positive. Okay, so let's take a look at it on the 2D. Yeah, the 2D is looking pretty good, but it got a lot of ground to cover. So don't be surprised if MACD does something like that. So it means like we can still retest the lows right there, somewhere around like 0.02, 0.012, something like that, before pushing higher. Okay, because if the volatility is low, the MACD will struggle, okay, to give us a strong push. Okay, but everything else looks okay. Okay, so daily got to push higher, so we got to get the daily MACD to give us a strong breakout. If not, it could make a noise right here before pushing high. So it means like it could do something like that. That's what I just tried to draw on the 2D basis, right? But overall, I don't see anything extremely bearish, okay, with the daily to 2D up to a 3D MACD pointing up. Okay, So as you can see right here on the 3D, right? So the 3D will not most likely, okay, just shoot up to the upside. Okay, it can, but it most likely not just going to shoot up to the upside. So it will create some noise, right? It will create some noise. Unless we get an alt season and it just shoot up, right? But once again, resistance, you know, we're almost at resistance right here, 0.016. Second resistance all the way up to 19. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at comp USDT. So comp is moving nicely. Yeah, it is moving nicely. Yeah, the divergence, it is still in play. So as you can see, sometimes you don't want to jump in too early with these divergences, right? As you can see, the divergence started since when? Since like December, January, right? Right here, late January. So if you jumped in too early and saying like, oh, we're going to be pushing higher, you can see like your MACD needed like enough space to get close to your histogram. That's why you were just consolidating. But it seems like the consolidation is done, and we could be even pushing all the way up to 240, right? So but if you're short-term trading, you could be looking for 140, 148 range, 180 to 190, and finally 230 to 240 next after that. But it looks good. Okay, it looks good. It looks good. It looks good. All right, guys. So let me know if you guys have any other coins you guys want to talk about. It is already 58 minutes, right? Minus 8 minutes without sound. So let's go back and take a look at Dogecoin for the Moon Boys. So CRV, let's take a look at CRV because I'm bullish on CRV too, right? So CRV, it is in a big wedge pattern, right? But once again, okay, we broke out above the RSI resistance right there. So I was saying like it can retest it, and it did, all right, depending on which time frame you're looking at, right? So if we get a breakout right there, that could be a clean daily or even like a 3 to 5D breakout, right? So the upside resistance all the way up to the February highs, somewhere around like 3.5, 3.7. So it is a 50% move, buddy. So let's see, all right, if we can if bull's going to show up and take advantage of the bull divergence, right? Even up to the 2D basis, right? Yeah, on the 2D, it is not a bull divergence yet. Okay, so just be mindful, right, in case it does something like that. Okay, be mindful. So you got to put a stop loss and don't expect like the move to be a straight shot, just in case on the 2D basis we do create another another pattern, something like that. Okay, right here, and then push to the upside. Okay, even though it is a short-term trade, it might ended up being like a couple of weeks of sideways correction before pushing to the upside, right? But on the daily, it does look good. Okay, it does look good on the daily. All right, guys, I'm just gonna call it a day. It is already 1 hour of live streaming, so enjoy the weekend and be safe out there. Let's see what the market will do next week. It is going to be the last week of the month, right? So actually the last 5 days of the month, 6 days of the month, whatever, right? So we'll see if Q2 going to be a very I mean, Q1 was pretty volatile. If you were bearish, right? If you were bear, you basically you basically did well in Q2, right? In Q1, because it dumped like 30% in Q1, okay, before pushing back up, right? So if you're a bull in Q1, you might be panicking the last few months, right? So let's see what what BTC will do in the next like 3 months, because we only down like 3%, 5% this month. I mean this quarter, okay, only 3% down, 3.5, 3.8. So we don't know where we're gonna close, right? But that's why I've been saying buy the dips, buy the dips. Don't worry about like all those bears calling for 14k, 5k, and all that good stuff. It will take forever before we get down to those prices. That's the same thing I said when BTC was at 30k. Buy the dips at 30k. Don't worry about 25, 24, 23, 10k, 1k, $1, and all that good stuff. It will take forever for BTC to break the 21 EMA on a monthly basis. If we break the monthly basis, right? I mean, sometimes it doesn't give you even time to close above it for you to enter. If it breaks it, it just dump straight down below it. Okay, so it doesn't give you like those like a small candle close below the monthly for you to enter. It's just going to get the job done and basically take care of business all the way down to the monthly 50 EMA, depending on which one you're comfortable with, right? The EMA or the MA, but pretty close, right? Pretty close to one another. All right, guys, thanks a lot for watching.